Hello students, today we are going to talk about various aspects of electrochemistry. In this lecture, I will talk about electrochemical cells. The lecture plan includes electrolytic cells, galvanic cells, their applications and how an electrochemical cell works. The first one, let's now come to electrochemical cells. Electrochemical cells are described as the devices capable of either generating electrical energy as a result of some spontaneous chemical reaction or to carry out a chemical reaction with the help of electric current. Let us have a look at this cell which contains an electrolyte in a glass vessel in which two electrodes are dipped. One electrode is positively charged, the second one is negatively charged, and the two electrodes are connected to a source or normally a battery. Let us have a look at the various components of a cell. The first one is electrode. A cell consists of two solid conductors termed as electrodes. These electrodes may be of metal, carbon surfaces and so on. The second component is electrolyte, which is an aqueous conductor, usually a solution of ions in water or any other suitable solvent. Molten salts such as sodium chloride can also serve the purpose of an electrolyte. Let us have a look at the cell. Here you can see we have two metal plates which are dipped in a solution of an electrolyte. Now, two types of reactions take place when the electrodes are connected to a outer source such as battery. The first one, which is a positive plate, is called as cathode, at which oxidized metal converts to metal, whereas at the second one, which is known as anode, the metal converts to oxidized metal. Now, if we look in the solution, the flow of positive ions takes place towards cathode and the flow of negative ions takes place towards anode, which means the ions in the electrolytes are attracted to the electrode with the opposite charge, where charge transfer reaction occurs, and this charge transfer reaction lead to the flow of electrons in the circuit. Now, let us come to reducing agents and oxidizing agents. A reducing agent reduces something else, which means that it gives electron to it. For example, magnesium is good at giving away electrons to form its ions. Therefore, magnesium must be a good reducing agent. An oxidizing agent, on the other hand, oxidizes something else, which means that it takes electron from it. Copper does not form its ion very readily, and its ions easily pick up electrons from somewhere to revert to metallic copper. Therefore, copper 2 ions must be good oxidizing agents. Remember that in terms of electron, we write OIL, which means oxidation is always a loss of electron. On the other hand, RIG represents reduction is gain of electron. This indicates that whenever there is loss of electron, it is oxidation, and if there is gain of electron, it is reduction. Let us now apply this to one of the redox equilibria. For example, magnesium 2 plus ions are taking 2 electrons to give magnesium, which is solid. Now, in terms of electrons, since we are gaining electrons or magnesium 2 plus is gaining electrons, it is an example of reduction. When solid magnesium forms its ions, it loses electrons, and in this case the magnesium is being oxidized. Let us consider another example. Copper 2 plus in a solution takes 2 electrons to give copper which is in solid form. This is again an example of reduction because copper 2 plus ions are taking 2 electrons, which is gain of electron to give solid copper. We can say when the copper ions gain electron to form copper, which means they are being reduced. Let us now come to electrolytic cell, because when we talk about electrochemical cell, the first thing comes in the mind is that what are the advantages of using these cells. Here I am trying to demonstrate the application part of electrolytic cell. You must have seen silver coated, gold coated, copper coated and so on, various types of utensils in the market. These are usually coated with a particular metal using electrochemical process. You can see here a battery provides a connection to the metal, or you can say a utensil at which you wish to make coating, and the solution of the salt of the same metal ion. When the electric current is passed, the metal start depositing at the surface of the utensils, which may be spoon or any other whatever you are taking for shining. A type of electrochemical cell is capable of converting electrical energy into chemical energy, and this type of deposition is an example of converting electrical energy into chemical energy. Or in other words, we can say that cell in which electrical energy is used to drive a non-spontaneous chemical reaction is one of the common example which is used in electroplating of ornaments and utensils. You must have seen silver coating on variety of ornaments, particularly on jewelry, where silver is coated or gold is coated on silver ornaments to make them more attractive. This is a common example where we use electrical energy and converts it into chemical energy. The path of electrons in electrochemical cells can be clearly seen from this example. Here we can see that the left side electrode is connected to the negative terminal of the battery, whereas the other electrode is connected to the positive side of battery. Now, when an electrolyte is taken, say some acidic medium or acidic solution with copper ions, you can see the positively charged copper ions moves towards the electrode which is connected to the negative side of the battery, and positively charged copper ions get reduced at this electrode, which means the cations from the solutions moves toward this electrode and gets reduced to corresponding metal, and therefore we call this electrode as cathode, which means where cations move. Second, whereas electrons are sucked from the right side of the electrode as it is attached to the positive terminal of the battery and it bears a positive charge. Now, anions from the solutions are attracted towards the positive electrode, and therefore, this electrode is known as anode. That means the electrode where anions are attracted. Now, if we take a metal, we can write corresponding reaction. Say the metal will lose electrons to give you metal ion and electron is evolved. This reaction will take place at anode, whereas when metal ions will take electron to form corresponding metal, the reaction takes place at cathode. Let us now come to some common galvanic cells which are also known as voltaic cell. This type of cells you must have seen in your home and you must have used them in variety of toys, torch and so on. These are the devices that spontaneously produces electricity by using chemical reactions. These cells uses chemical substances that participate in a spontaneous redox reaction. Whenever we say redox reaction, we must understand that we are talking of oxidation reduction reaction. Daniell cells, pencil cells, batteries are the common examples of voltaic or galvanic cells. Let us now come to the components of voltaic cell. Here again we have electrodes at which oxidations occurs and the source of electron are as shown here. You see we have two electrodes here and the flow of electrons is from left to right. The first one is anode, which is negative, and the second one is cathode. Now, cell having anode is known as oxidation half cell. Now, you can think that we have now virtually two cells, one where oxidation is taking place, second where reduction is taking place, and to make the flow of electrons we are using a device which is connecting the two half cells. The cell having anode is known as oxidation half cell and the cell having cathode is known as reduction half cell. And electrode where reduction occurs will be positively charged and it is called as cathode. Now, I was talking how to connect oxidation and reduction half cells in a galvanic cell. There are two things which we can use to connect the two half cells. The first one is salt bridge and the second one is a porous disc. Both of them maintains electrical neutrality within the internal circuit. As electrons leave one half of a galvanic cell and flow to the other, a difference in electrostatic potential is built up. If no salt bridge is used, this increasing electrostatic potential difference would counteract the electrochemical potential difference, and eventually it would prevent further net flow of electrons, and therefore we must use a salt bridge or a sintered or porous disc. These are the two devices. You can see here we have two half cells and we are using a salt bridge, which is basically a U tube in which, when we use agar-agar and KCl in this salt bridge, it freezes or solidifies in the U tube, and it is used as salt bridge for connecting the two half cells. On the other hand, the porous disc is a simple device which is fitted in between the two half cells, and a small amount of agar-agar is placed on both sides of this porous disc and it remains conducting. Let us now come to Daniell cell. As you can see here, we have two half cells. In one, we have taken an electrolyte which is copper sulphate solution, and we have dipped a copper which works as cathode. On the other hand, we are taking a solution of zinc sulphate in which zinc is dipped, and both are connected with an external source, and we are using here, as you can see, for connecting a salt bridge so that the two half cells can be connected. So, a Daniell cell, we can say, composed of two half cells, each consists of a metal rod which is dipped in a solution of its own ion or an inert electrolyte. Here I am saying because they are dipped in its own ion, because you can see copper metal or copper strip is dipped in a solution of copper sulphate and zinc strip is dipped in a solution of zinc sulphate. Now, the electrons, you can see, starts to flow from a place where oxidation occurs to a place where reduction occurs through an external wire. This flow of electrons constitutes a current which can be used to do any work. In this case, you can see the flow of electron is taking place from zinc plate and it is going towards copper plate. Then we come to secondary cells and batteries. A battery or a secondary cell is a group of galvanic cells which is connected in a series. The potentials of the individual cells add to give the total battery potential. Primary, that is single use or disposable batteries, are used once and then they are discarded. The electrode materials are irreversibly changed during discharge, whereas in secondary cells they can be recharged using electricity. So, let us now come to them in a little bit more detail. Say this is a common dry cell which you have seen in your home and you must have used them for variety of purposes. The basic reaction which takes place here is zinc, which reacts with ammonium ion in presence of manganese dioxide to give zinc ions, ammonia, water and Mn2O3. Now, you can see the basic reaction is in which zinc is converted to zinc ions. That means, here we are losing electrons to give corresponding zinc ions. Now, if you cut a simple dry cell you can see in the middle of the dry cell there is a carbon rod, and inside the battery you can see we have a paste of an electrolyte, and there is a separator, followed by we have carbon and manganese dioxide mixture. The zinc negative electrode work as anode, and you can see here the flow of electron takes place from the bottom of this dry cell and goes to the top of this cell. We can use it for variety of purposes to get instant electric current. We can use it in torch for lighting bulb, for getting energy, for running toys, and many more applications you must have seen in your home. The car batteries, on the other hand, are a lead storage batteries which are characterized as secondary battery. We have charging reaction as well as discharging reaction. You can see here during discharging, at anode, the lead reacts with sulfate ions to give lead sulfate, and 2 electrons are evolved. Whereas at cathode, lead dioxide reacts with hydrogen ions, sulfate ions, and the 2 electrons are consumed to give lead sulfate, and water is produced. So, the overall net reaction you can see here: lead solid, lead oxide solid, 4H plus aqueous, 2 sulfate aqueous gives you 2 lead sulfate and 2 H2O. If you measure the overall potential, it is close to 2 volts. Now, during recharging, we require input of slightly more than 2 volts per cell to drive the spontaneous reaction in the reverse direction, which converts electrical energy back into chemical energy, which is stored again in the lead and lead dioxide and sulfuric acid in the cell. Now, if you look at the reaction here, it is lead sulfate which is taking 2 electron to give you lead and sulfate ions. At anode, lead sulfate reacts with water to give you lead dioxide, hydrogen ions, sulfate ions, and 2 electrons are evolved, and the overall reaction we can explain as 2 lead sulfate aqueous plus 2 H2O, which is giving lead solid, lead dioxide solid, 4 H plus aqueous, and 2 sulfate ion, and again here the potential is minus 2 volts. Now, if you look, a commonly used battery for cars and inverters, we call it as lead storage battery. We have here, you can see different compartments where we have cell connectors which is connecting various cells, and we keep outer surface with the help of a protective layer so that it does not harm, and sulfuric acid is used in these batteries. Now, if we compare electrochemical cells, voltaic cells or electrolytic cells, we can see as far as spontaneous nature is concerned, voltaic cells are spontaneous, whereas electrolytic cells gives non-spontaneous reaction. The standard cell potential for voltaic cell is always positive, for electrolytic cells it is always negative. The cathode for voltaic cells are a strong oxidizing agent, and they undergoes reduction. The electrode is positive. On the other hand, in electrolytic cell, strongest oxidizing agent present undergoes a reduction and it works as negative electrode. Anode, strongest reducing agent present undergoes an oxidation in voltaic cell and it works as negative electrode, whereas in electrolytic cell we use strongest reducing agent which is present undergoes an oxidation and it works as positive electrode. For voltaic cell, direction of electron movement is from anode to cathode and similar is for electrolytic cell where again electrons move from anode to cathode. The direction of ion movement, it is again same, anions move towards anode, cations move towards cathode, and similarly for electrolytic cell, anions move towards anodes and cations move towards cathode. Let us now come to reversible and irreversible cell. For a cell to be reversible, it should satisfy the following two conditions. The first one, the driving and opposing forces be infinitesimally different from each other, and it should be possible to reverse any change taking place by applying a force infinitesimally greater than the acting one. Again, if a cell satisfies above two conditions, it constitutes a reversible cell and all thermodynamic relations can be applied to this cell. When the above conditions are not satisfied, the cell is called as irreversible cell and thermodynamic conditions do not apply for this cell. Difference between the two cells can be illustrated with the help of following examples. Let us consider reversible cells first. Consider a cell composed of zinc and silver chloride electrodes dipping into an aqueous solution of zinc chloride. Now, following reactions will take place on connecting the electrodes externally. Let us now come to example of reversible cell. Anode, we can see here zinc is undergoing oxidation and we are getting zinc ions and 2 electrons are evolved. Whereas at cathode we are taking silver chloride which is taking 2 electrons to give silver metal and 2 chloride ions. And if we look at the overall reaction, we can write zinc plus 2 AgCl is giving 2 Ag solid, zinc ions and 2 chloride ions. In this lecture, I tried to demonstrate electrochemical cells, galvanic cells, their applications and how an electrochemical cell works. In the next lecture, we will demonstrate reversible, irreversible cells. We will talk about them in detail and the representation of an electrochemical cell.